Jai Shri Ram. This is a GRE issue prompt. Now they use the word prompt. Prompt means an essay topic. Because people increasingly feel compelled to share their personal details online, the right to privacy is eroding. Okay. Now the instructions are write a response in which you discuss the extent to which you agree or disagree with the claim. In developing and supporting a position, be sure to address the most compelling reasons and or examples that could be used to challenge your position. Okay. Now, prima facie, it looks reasonable and acceptable. Prima facie? Well, PRIMAFACIE means at first look, at first sight. Because people increasingly feel compelled to share their personal details online, the right to privacy is eroding. Now let us quickly examine. See, you have 30 minutes to write an essay. 6 grade points are available to be given away to you, and if you do well, you should get 4. 4 is very good. 5, some people do get that too. I have heard of somebody getting a 6. Perhaps 1 in a million get it. So if you get 4, that is good enough. And how should you write? Well, there are no rules, no stipulation in GRE. They won't tell you how many words you have to write. Unlike in TOEFL and IELTS, where you are told that you need to write at least 250 words. Here, in 30 minutes, it is fair to expect somebody to write at least 300 words or perhaps 400. Okay. So the more you write, the better it is for you. Statistically, we have found that students who write lengthier responses seem to be getting better scores. But there are some criteria too, assessment criteria. The rubric, RUBRIC. Rubric means an assessment criteria, a set of criteria that are used to assess anybody's performance is called the rubric. Now the word rubric also means a title. Originally, long ago in history, when they were printing and binding books, the book used to have some kind of a leather binding, and the name used to be embossed in red. So that was called rubric, because rubric has something to do with redness. Anyway, today the word rubric can simply mean chapter heading, title, under the rubric of psychology, under the rubric of Indian history. So rubric means the chapter heading or title. Rubric means rules to follow. In an exam, the first page is usually the rubric where they will tell you what to do and what not to do, the rules to follow. And rubric can also mean assessment criteria. A professor. Now, your Awa response is going to be assessed by 2 professors independently, and they are going to use a rubric. If your response meets these requirements, blah 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 blah, if it meets all those blah blah requirements, then they'll give you 6 out of 6. So if it meets only few of those blah requirements, you'll get 5, so on and so forth. That's called the rubric. Now, broadly, the rubric is GODAV, Godava, right? That's chinna Godava. G is grammar. So your response should be grammatically correct. Obviously, that I don't think you need any further explanation. Your grammar should be good. You cannot construct ungrammatical sentences. And O, organized response. Your response should be organized. You cannot ramble and write aimlessly huge paragraphs, so you will lose. So each paragraph should be neat and tidy, and actually each paragraph should discuss only one idea. If the idea changes, the paragraph should change. Now, organized response, I would suggest that you follow a simple format, which we can call the PREP formula, PREP, which means the first sentence will be the point, second will be the reasons, third will be the examples, and fourth will be a restatement of the point. Or sometimes if you want to continue the discussion, change the paragraph, but don't restate the point at the end of the first paragraph. In order to cut down the size of the paragraphs, you can actually limit it and then continue Further examples can be taken, and then you can write one more paragraph. The topic will be the same, the point that was earlier mentioned. So if you can follow this prep formula, you will satisfy their thirst and hunger for programmed writing. Because as a rule, Americans are very punctilious, very fastidious, very persnickety, finicky, fussy about structure. We are not so bothered about structure. So perhaps that's because we are more creative as a people. Not that Americans are less creative. So now GO is over. Organized response can also mean there must be a clear introduction and a clear conclusion, and the conclusion can actually conveniently be a paraphrasing of your introduction. That means whatever you write in your introduction, restate the same thing using different words. Paraphrase means to restate using different words, restate differently. So, and a body of the response should have 4 or 5 small, tidy paragraphs. Okay, so this is as far as the organized response goes. D is details, which means examples and facts, and as many examples and as many reasons and all that you can provide. And A stands for addressing the topic. That means you must make sure that you are writing on what you've been asked to write on. That is called addressing the topic. I'm sure we all have gone through some situation in school where the question was something else and we wrote something else, and the teacher pulled us up and asked us, what the hell, what have you written here? Is that what you were asked to write on? I'm sure it has happened to you. Don't let that happen to you in the GRE, because then it will be struck down. So you need to spend some time to understand exactly what's being said. And if you go off on a tangent and write something, then that's stupid, that's dumb. Okay. So addressing the topic, I strongly recommend that you translate it into your mother tongue so that you get a purchase on what's being said. A purchase means a grip. Traction also means grip. Traction also means support. An idea is gaining traction means support. Okay. Incidentally, I discuss a lot of words while I'm discussing exercises and all that, because naturally when these words come up, I use them, and I suspect somebody may not know, therefore it's necessary for you to quickly know the meaning of the word too. And V is for vocabulary. So now my introduction, let's first analyze and examine, because people feel increasingly compelled. So the question is, who is compelling them? We can be compelled by outside forces, we can feel compelled, though nobody or nothing is compelling us. So this compulsion or being compelled, being forced, because of our faulty understanding or because of some psychological disorder, you could be feeling a need to divulge your personal details. This could be actually a simple case of a psychological disorder. A narcissistic personality disorder, seeking praise, attention seeking behavior. All these things can also translate into this kind of tendency to divulge personal details on social media and then get into problems. Sometimes you may download apps, or you may join groups, or there might be a lot of other activities on social media where they might require you to divulge your personal details, and then these personal details can be easily hacked into by somebody or misused. So this problem is also there. So now, because people increasingly feel compelled to share their personal details online, the right to privacy is eroding. So, what do you think? It is eroding, no doubt, but how much of your integrity, security is threatened is the main question. I may divulge all my details, but I am mature enough not to divulge details which are personal and sensitive. Only foolish people would do that. So they are inviting trouble, they are asking for trouble. So if their right to privacy, their privacy is getting eroded, now they have actively colluded in this. Therefore they cannot now claim that their right to privacy is being eroded, because they are complicit in the act. COMPLICIT. So write a response in which you discuss the extent to which you agree or disagree. So to what extent do you agree with this is the next question. So in the introduction, don't use the word personal pronoun I. Don't use the word personal pronoun I. Speak in a general mode. Use the word we, not the word I. Well, why? Well, I remember reading somewhere long ago that the ETS chap said, don't use the word I. And the reasoning was, since obviously it is you who is saying whatever you're saying, there's no need to keep saying I. Okay. So their reason is okay. So please don't use the word I. I think, according to me, all this is not necessary. So to what extent do you agree? Now you can write one paragraph on how people, foolishly, narcissistically, and suffering from this attention-seeking disorder, they tend to divulge not only personal details, they also post pictures and short videos, and eventually information which is actually sensitive and personal, which should be kept private, they end up divulging and then get into problems. So it is they are complicit in that. They are hand in glove. They have connived with the criminal who's going to now utilize this against this person. And downloading all kinds of apps and joining all kinds of forums and social media apps are there, platforms are there. One should use one's discretion. If somebody fails to exercise discretion and goes on revealing, then obviously they will face the music later. And one more paragraph you can talk about how sophisticated software are there. Phishing is another crime that is prominent, isn't it? So there are lots of sophisticated software also that are available, which hackers can use to hack into your system and steal your personal data, steal your identity. Identity theft is a common problem. This can lead to all kinds of frauds, right? So you can write one paragraph on that. What next? So yes, one has to be very careful not to reveal sensitive information, and if it is merely the name or some other details which cannot really be manipulated by anybody, right? And photographs and pictures of a sensitive nature should also not be posted. So some basic precautions people must take. Unfortunately, youngsters and many gullible people don't take these precautions, and they invite a lot of trouble. And after actually inviting this trouble into their lives, then they keep complaining. So that is immature. Well, I think I said what I said. Now can you come up with 4 paragraphs? 4 small paragraphs where you are mentioning all these things. So because of one's own lack of maturity, 1 paragraph. Because of the need to divulge information when you are joining groups, platforms, blah blah, so many other things, that's 1 paragraph. And having the maturity not to divulge sensitive information, 1 paragraph. Having the maturity not to post pictures of a sensitive nature which can then be misused, that's 1 paragraph. And then 1 paragraph where such a lot of sophisticated software is available, hacking software, where even if you don't divulge, information can be fished out. They can use trojans, they can use malware, and then they can get into your system. So you need to have a good firewall, you need to have antivirus. So if you are not willing to spend on getting the right kind of antivirus, then you are compromising the system, and that is one reason how your privacy is getting eroded. That is because of your carelessness. So that's also possible. So 1 paragraph on that. Jai Shri Ram. Please write a response, post it on WhatsApp, and I will read that and I'll give you a audio feedback file. Yes,